tropes begin to draw me in. With all developed tools, we built a wall. We built the pyramids. Math, science, history, unraveling the mystery that all started with a big bang.
Welcome to Foolproof Mechanics. This time we are going to be talking about something new, restrictive and non-restrictive clauses. Before we start something new, we should probably review. A clause contains both a subject and a verb. For example, Sheldon Cooper is a brilliant physicist. In this sentence, Sheldon Cooper is the subject and is the verb, which is a clause. To continue our review, an independent clause can stand alone. A dependent clause begins with a subordinating conjunction and is not a complete sentence when standing alone. It needs to be joined with an independent clause to make it whole. Because Sheldon is a child prodigy and a brilliant physicist, he believes that he is more intelligent than all of his friends and most of the people on the planet. Sheldon is the subject and is the verb. The key word, because, is an adverb and a subordinating conjunction. He believes is the subject and verb in the second half. Now we start the new stuff. A new type of clause that can be found in the middle or at the end of a sentence is called a non-restrictive clause. It's similar to an appositive in that it adds additional but non-essential information to the sentence. If this type of clause is removed from the sentence, the meaning of the sentence will not change. For example, Sheldon, who has an eidetic memory, lives with Leonard Hofstadter, another physicist. Sheldon is the subject and lives is the verb. Who is our key word and has is the verb. The keywords in non-restrictive clauses are relative pronouns. Which or who are the two key words in a non-restrictive clause. They act as the subject of the clause. For example, Raj Ramayan, who is socially awkward around women, is an astrophysicist and another one of Sheldon's friends. In this sentence, the main part of the sentence, the subject is Raj Ramayan, and is the verb. The non-restrictive clause begins with who, which is the key word and the subject, and is the verb. When you take out that section of the sentence, you still have a sentence that makes sense. So who is socially awkward adds additional information. So, if we take out that clause, who is socially awkward around women, we have this sentence. Raj Ramayan is an astrophysicist and another one of Sheldon's friends. It still makes sense, but a key important element, who is socially awkward around women, is left out. And as we know, if we're fans of the show, you definitely don't want to leave that part out. Another type of clause found in the middle or at the end of a sentence is the restrictive clause. Like the non-restrictive clause, the restrictive clause begins with one of two relative pronouns, that or who. Raj believes it is drinking alcohol that provides him the courage to speak with women. Raj is the subject, believes is the verb, that is the subject and the key word of the restrictive clause, and provides is the verb. There is a difference between a restrictive and a non-restrictive clause. Unlike a non-restrictive clause, the restrictive clause is necessary for the essential meaning of the sentence. Therefore, it cannot be removed from the sentence. For example, Penny lives in the apartment that is located across from Leonard and Sheldon's apartment. Penny is our subject, lives is the verb. We have a prep phrase, in the apartment. Then we have a restrictive clause, starting with the subject and keyword that, and is located is the verb. And then we have another long prep phrase, across from Leonard's and Sheldon's apartment. Now, if you were to take out that is located across from Leonard and Sheldon's apartment, you would have Penny lives in the apartment. We don't know which apartment is being referred to. Therefore, we need that is located across from Leonard's and Sheldon's apartment for the sentence to truly make sense. The essential meaning will change if you take that clause away. So, in review, both restrictive and non-restrictive clauses begin with a relative pronoun, who, which, or that. To get more information, you should look in your Writer's Ink book on page 491. There you will find a very interesting and helpful chart that explains the difference between using that or which. In addition, a non-restrictive clause adds unnecessary but interesting information to a sentence. It is set off by commas to indicate that it can be removed without changing the essential meaning of the sentence. For example, Howard Wolowitz, who is an aerospace engineer, has a complex about being the only one of his friends without a PhD. In this sentence, Howard Wolowitz is the subject and has is the verb in the main part of the sentence. The non-restrictive clause, who, is the keyword and subject, and is the verb. If we take out who is an aerospace engineer, we're left with Howard Wolowitz has a complex about being the only one of his friends without a PhD. It still makes sense, but who is an aerospace engineer adds very interesting information. To continue the review, a restrictive clause adds necessary or essential information to a sentence. Therefore, it does not require the use of commas and cannot be taken out of the sentence without changing its meaning. Here's another example sentence. In one of the latest episodes, Leonard is chosen to work aboard a research ship that is located in the middle of the ocean. But to show off, Howard reminds Leonard it's not as impressive as working on a space station. Now this sentence is a bit longer, and if you just look at it, you might not be able to find the restrictive clause. However, we have a key word to look for. That key word is that. So let's just keep that in mind, and let's start to mark up the sentence using our foolproof mechanics rules. First, we'll find our prep phrases. In one of the latest episodes, and let's see if there are some more. I see another one, in the middle, and another one, of the ocean. And then finally we have on a space station. Okay, so all of those prep phrases are out of the way. We won't find a subject or verb in there. So our main subject of the sentence is Leonard, and is chosen is the verb. And then we have that is, which is our restrictive clause. So that, our key word, is also the subject, and is located is the verb. We also have a compound sentence. But is the key word, and then Howard is the subject, and reminds is the verb. So you were able to figure out a pretty complicated sentence by using the markings that we've learned in foolproof mechanics. So thanks for stopping by and beginning to unravel the mysteries of restrictive and non-restrictive clauses. I hope you've enjoyed this little mini lesson, and I hope you'll come back again.